As part of deploying ADDS, you might choose to restructure your environment for the following reasons. To optimize the logical ADDS structure. In some organizations, the business might have changed significantly since ADDS was first deployed. As a result, the ADDS domain or forest structure might no longer meet the business requirements. To assist in completing a business merger, acquisition, or divestiture. Restructuring involves migrating resources between ADDS domains in either the same forest or in different forests. ADDS has no option to detach a domain from one forest and then attach it to another forest. You can rename and rearrange domains within a forest under some circumstances, but there is no way to easily merge domains within or between forests. The only option for restructuring a domain in this way is to move all the accounts and resources from one domain to another domain. You can use the Active Directory Migration tool, ADMT, to move user, group, and computer accounts from one domain to another and to migrate server resources. If managed carefully, the migration can be completed without disrupting users' access to the resources that they need to do their work. ADMT provides both a GUI and a scripting interface, and it supports the following tasks for completing a domain migration: user account migration, group account migration, computer account migration, service account migration, trust migration, to Exchange server directory migration, security translation on migrated computer accounts, reporting features for viewing the migration's results, functionality to undo the last migration and to retry the last migration. Pre-migration steps. Before performing a migration, you must complete several tasks to prepare the source and target domains. These tasks include 4 domain member computers that predate Windows Vista Service Pack 1 or Windows Server 2008 R2, configure a registry key on the target ADDS domain controller to allow cryptography algorithms that are compatible with the Microsoft Windows NT Server 4.0 operating system. You enable firewall rules on source and target ADDS domain controllers to allow file and printer sharing. Prepare the source and target ADDS domains to manage how users, groups, and user profiles will be handled. Create a rollback plan. Establish the trust relationships that are required for the migration. Configure source and target ADDS domains to enable SID history migration. Specify service accounts for the migration. Perform a test migration and fix any reported errors. Interforest restructuring with ADMT. An interforest restructuring involves moving resources from source domains that are in different forests than the target domain. To use ADMT to perform an interforest restructuring, do the following. 1. Create a restructuring plan. An adequate plan is critical to the success of the restructuring process. Complete the following steps to create your restructuring plan. A. Determine the account migration process. B. Assign object locations and location mapping. C. Develop a test plan. D. Create a rollback plan. E. Create a communication plan. 2. Prepare source and target domains. You must prepare both the source and target domains for the restructuring process by performing the following tasks. Ensure that 128-bit encryption is on all domain controllers. Windows Server 2000 Service Pack 3 and newer versions natively support 128-bit encryption. For older operating systems, you must download and install a separate encryption pack. A. Establish required trusts. You must configure at least a one-way trust between the source and target domains. B. Establish migration accounts. ADMT uses migration accounts to migrate objects between source and target domains. Ensure that these accounts have permissions to move and modify objects on the source and target domains. C. Determine whether ADMT will handle SID history automatically or if you must configure the target and source domains manually. D. Ensure proper configuration of the target domain OU structure. Ensure that you configure the proper administrative rights and delegated administration in the target domain. E. Install ADMT in the target domain. F. Enable password migration. G. Perform a test migration with a small test account group. 3. Migrate accounts. Perform the following steps to migrate accounts. A. Transition service accounts. B. Migrate global groups. C. Migrate accounts. Migrate user and computer accounts in batches to monitor the migration's progress. If you are migrating local profiles as part of the process, migrate the affected computers first and then the associated user accounts. 4. Migrate resources. Migrate the remaining resources in the domain by performing the following steps. A. Migrate workstations and member servers. B. Migrate domain local groups. C. Migrate domain controllers. 5. Finalize migration. Finalize the migration and perform cleanup by performing the following steps. A. Transfer administration processes to the target domain. B. Ensure that at least 2 operable domain controllers exist in the target domain. Back up these domain controllers. C. Decommission the source domain. The SID history attribute. During the migration, you might have moved user and group accounts to the new domain, but the resources that the users need to access might still be in the old domain. When you migrate a user account, ADDS assigns it a new SID. Because the resource in the source domain grants access based on the user SID from the source domain, the user cannot use the new SID to access the resource until the resource is moved to the new domain. To address this situation, you can configure ADMT to migrate the SID from the source domain and then store the SID in an attribute called SID history. When the SID history attribute is populated, the user's previous SID is used to grant access to resources in the source domain. SID history increases the size of users' access tokens. After migrating users to the new domain, the access control lists, ACLs, in your environment should be examined, and you should also migrate the ACLs. After a migration is complete and the original domain has been removed, you should clean up your user's SID history attribute. You can best accomplish this task by using the getSID history and removeSID history Windows PowerShell templates. You should carefully plan and execute these activities because removing SID history before the environment is properly prepared could cause business interruptions. Additional reading. For more information on using ADMT, refer to http://aka.ms/GAOEG.